this is what I needed to discover on my own personal journey. Like, I didn't even know anything about shamanism until I started reading a little bit and saying, wait, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
This is what we're experiencing, people who go through psychosis, and we don't have any initiation. We don't have any guides. We have nobody to help us through this so that we can integrate. And instead, it's stopped. The process is stopped with this very heavy, medication and life-changing narratives that are saying there's something wrong with you. You need to be fixed. And
Yeah.
because they only reduce everything to the physicality of form, like there's really no conversation about it. So this is thrilling to hear you say this. And I understand that didn't you also experience, I mean, not psychosis necessarily, but like a depressed state while
Completely.
you were experiencing, like, I guess, your initiation. So there, it seems to be so much overlap of these mental these moments where we have mental distress that allow for this new state to kind of emerge. Is there a connection of these states?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I think because of the lack of initiation, it has to go through that process,
Yeah.
which is a process of suffering, right? And extreme loneliness and rejection, right?
Yeah.
And basically, as you feel completely rejected, and yet you're trying to open up to your own gifts and all these things that you get from hearing to seeing to having deep intuition to even through touch feeling what people feel, and then the other denying, because we do in a way we're encouraged to lie about our emotional states. And so
Yes.
we don't have that honest conversation when intuitives and empaths and then people who even have further gifts are able to see things that are unsupposed, their gifts, and instead we turn them into faults
Yes.
and almost curses, right? And a gift is a curse to a certain degree unless you know how to use it, right?
Right.
Because it can drive you crazy, or you learn to initiate yourself through the path of disciplining the gift into something that's practical and that can then be of service to others, which usually it is. It's not
Yes.
so good for our own life as people
Yeah.
who have these
Sometimes
gifts, right?
yes.
So,
True, true. And it takes a while
which adds
sometimes
to the
to,
craziness, right? Because
yeah.
then people are like, well, if you had all these gifts, why don't you go buy the lotto ticket and win? And you're like, it doesn't work that way. And it's like, well,
Right.
why not? And it's like, well, because that would be for me and it's for others, right?
Yeah.
And so, but I had to learn that, and teachers told me that because, of course, when you get these gifts, you want to get better for yourself and you start using them, and there's actually a karmic retribution towards that.
Mm.
And so there's a cause and effect that comes back and slams you because these gifts are meant to be offered to humanity.
Yes.
And luckily, science is coming up, but I think there is some lack of technology. I mean, maybe with the quantum science that's arising, we're going to be able to have tools that are developed that start encompassing the multidimensionality of our capacity. Like, I mean, we still don't understand dreams. We
Right.
don't understand these awakened states. We're starting to find the different frequencies that the brain gets into in terms of gamma and delta and alpha and
Mm.
beta, and that in sports it's better to be in one, and another one when you sleep it's better to be in that, and then in these weird shamanic altered states you actually get into these things. But yeah, and there's Corinne Kilburn, who's a French shaman who discovered she was a shaman. She was a media person, and she went on this documentary in Mongolia, and the shaman started playing the drum, and she just went straight into hearing voices and trance and visions, and she had no
Yeah.
idea what she was doing. And they immediately were like, "Oh, you're a shaman." And the whole crew was like, "Yeah, see, you're a shaman." She's like, "I'm not a shaman. What are you guys talking about?" That was like craziness. Eventually, she accepted it. She went through the training, and then she went into the science and was like, "Guys, like, test my brain."
Yeah.
And in Canada, with all these psychologists, they tested her when she would go into these altered states. And they basically called it a complete psychosis crisis. And then she would come back and be completely normal. And that's where they were like, what? That's not possible. You just went into psychosis. You can't come back and be normal. And she was like, I
Wow.
just did it. And I can do it back again and again and again and again, which she did do. And her spectrum was so loud, like where the shrinks almost couldn't handle how psychotic she would go
Oh,
into,
wow.
and then how she could be normalized back into her regular state. And she's
It's
like, well,
very
that's training.
helpful to hear that if a person really receives some kind of proper training, that this state can be accessed by will rather than by accident. A lot
Exactly.
of us, because we can't kind of control that process of how to get there, we don't know how to come home when we get there.
Mhm.
And then so you're led by, this institution that's just it's as you're showing with this story, they're trying to prove one thing and it's not what it is at all. It's so much deeper
Exactly.
than that and so much grander than that.